Hey ladies and gentlemen, Javier here with The Real Javier Novoa, a channel, a platform, and a modality whose time has come, which calls to and disseminates and teaches the philosophy of interiorism, which is the basic framework which I'm going to be putting our teachings and our videos and our programs into for the foreseeable future. I'm starting to put out materials on it, and it basically draws from the teachings of philosophy, spirituality, metaphysics, and yes, even business. And we're applying this to rapid lifestyle transformation. We're applying this to getting you free from the prison grid, getting you free from a job and a boss, and just more generally, getting you free in your mind and in your schedule so that you can do what you came for. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to subscribe to our channel, not only so that you can put your energy in with a pool, so to speak, with a community of master manifestors, but so that you can help me get the word out. I think this is a word whose time has come. I think there's no more, shall we say, urgent time for this information than this. It's an urgent time, ladies and gentlemen, because people are living as materialists and living as if the physical had an actual existence. I have news for you. That which we call matter has never once been touched or seen by the scientists. That which we call material existence has never once been proved or demonstrated through the scientific experiments. In the next few videos, we're going to go into the science of this, because we have to bring over people who are intellectual, but yet who are still entrapped in the modern day paradigms that are taught by the educational system, because it's going to be this new community of intellectuals, not only intellectuals, but intellectuals are really going to bolster it, and they're really going to be able to demonstrate to the world what interiorism is and what interiorism can achieve, and indeed has achieved throughout the ages, ladies and gentlemen. Because interiorism, and we are writing a book on this, and we're basically going all into this modality. Interiorism is nothing original by me, nothing new. It's been taught by all of the prophets, all of the great philosophers, all of the men of wisdom throughout history. It's only now in this generation and the preceding generations that most of the world has forgotten it. Ladies and gentlemen, most of the indigenous cultures of the world, except those who have been compromised and so on and so forth, lived this way, lived according to these ideas. It took quote-unquote modern scientism to basically take humanity out of touch with this knowing. And it's a knowing that we're all one. We're one with nature. We're one with each other. And actually nothing else exists or can exist except the one. It goes back to the Gnostics. And of course the Gnostics had the myth of Sophia. And Sophia was a being who fell asleep. And then when she fell asleep, she tore into two. And the one was the physical existence, and the one was the spiritual existence. And so we operate on this bipolar, so to speak, schizophrenic plane, acting as if there was a great chasm between the spiritual and the physical. Like Alan Watts says, there is no physical, there is no spiritual, there's just this. And of course, he made a sound with a bell. I don't have a bell readily at hand, but that's the first step in this philosophy, ladies and gentlemen. And we've taught it since the early days of the channel. The first knowing that you have to come to, the first step that you have to take into this philosophy of interiorism in its modern iteration, which is now flowing through me, basically, to the world here. The first step of it is just the knowing of what is, ladies and gentlemen. And the only way to know what is to observe it. And in order to truly observe it, it has to be observed, as Krishnamurti taught about, without thought. It has to be observed without any mediator. It has to be observed directly. And the only way that you can observe reality directly is by becoming completely and totally present. And we can do that right now. It's what all of the great early New Thought philosophers called entering into the silence, entering into that stillness. It's very easy to do. You just simply sit down and you just feel the sensations around you. Let's do it now. Let's enter into the silence for just a little while so that we can have communion or communication with this true field of reality that is the actual undergirding of everything that exists, the substratum, so to speak, of everything that exists and that you're in right now. So I just invite you to just sit up straight if you can. If you're sitting, you can close your eyes. And just be completely present. Open up every sensation center, every pore of your body, every center that can receive input. Just open it up and just allow all of the inputs from your environment. Just for a few seconds. You can follow anything. You can follow a sound in the room, like I have a sound of a fan going. You can just focus on that. You can focus on your breathing. Now open your eyes. That was just a few seconds, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I was listening to one popular spiritual teacher the other day, and you know, I don't agree with everything, but he was saying, actually take 2 to 5 seconds, 2 times an hour, and just do this. It need only be 2 to 5 seconds. It could be more than that. It could be 10 seconds. The more you do it, the more you're going to love it. He said if you just do that, your life is going to change like 160 degrees, ladies and gentlemen, if you just do that. Every hour, just take a moment to pause and just to be in the presence. Joel Goldsmith talked about meditating 100 times a day, and this is what all the greats mean by meditation. There are many fancy processes for meditation. They're all beautiful. There are many ways to getting to that state, but all meditation is some sort of protocol that aims to get you to this. The state of no thought. The state that's indivisible. The state that the ancient Chinese philosophers knew as the Tao, ladies and gentlemen. The state that all of the philosophers talked about. Some called it paradise. Some called it the peace of God. Whatever you wish to call it, that is your primordial being. That's the first tenet of interiorism. And indeed, Neville Goddard said that his first operating principle was, be still and know that I am God. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the core proposition behind interiorism is that something exists and it is one, that is consciousness. Consciousness is the only thing that exists. There's only an illusion of a separation. Therefore, the only thing that can exist secondarily is within your consciousness. Of course, primarily, the only thing that exists is your consciousness. There's nothing else. There's no other movement. Everything else is a dream. But in order to experience ourselves as multiplicity and come back to the unity, we chose to come into this illusion of bipolarity, of duality. But even within that, because interiorism itself would not even make any sense if we knew ourselves as one and lived as one and actually only experienced the one. But we don't only want to experience the one. We came also to experience the beauty of multiplicity. But within that, there's the core proposition of the physical philosophy of interiorism. That is, the only thing that exists is interior to me. There's nothing else that exists exteriorly. And while we have a lot of science that can actually prove this, or that can attempt to convince you of this and can argue this, perhaps not prove it, but argue it very convincingly, at least enough for you to give some of the modalities a try. Because the importance of this actually is the modalities. Why? Because the whole reason for teaching interiorism is not simply empty philosophical speculation. It's not sitting in the insane asylum and trying to prove that I'm the only one that exists. No. It's not solipsism. It's for the purpose of living a better life. So that's the disclaimer that I put right here at the beginning. The reason that I'm teaching interiorism is not even to try to understand the nature of the universe. I could be wrong, of course. We could all be wrong. There's no way that someone could say, I convincingly have all the answers as to the nature of the universe. I'm not saying that I do. I'm saying that understanding reality in this way has the best shot of giving you a good life. And a good life means a life lived on your terms, a life that enables you to achieve what you want to achieve, and that enables you not to give up, and that enables you not to exhaust yourself before you get to the finish line. So many people exhaust themselves before they get to the finish line, working too hard. And they work too hard because they believe that there's an exterior world that they have to manipulate. And for all we know, they could be right. Let's say that there is an exterior world, even though there's not a shred of proof that there is an exterior world. Because, and we're going to go back to this was my original train of thought, that John Wheeler said, the great physicist, there's no out there out there. When you see this curtain behind me, what is there that's physical? Well, there's a color, Javier. Well, no, that color's created by the interaction of your eyes with the brain. Oh, there's a tangible element to it. You can touch it. No, because that's also received in your brain. And the proof of that is that we have these pain medications that basically they don't do anything physically. They simply block the transmission to the brain. So it's all transmission to the brain. So how do you know that there's something out there? There's no proof at all that there is anything out there. It's all interior. Now, let's say I'm wrong and there is something out there. Well, science and psychology have done numerous studies, and they know and say that people who are more positive and people who believe in the outcome tend to do better. So even if this philosophy was not true, we go back to our early videos where we talked about providence or atoms. Even if I'm wrong, it would be necessary for you to adopt this philosophy in order to be successful. And successful people do adopt this philosophy. Much of the time it's subconscious or unconscious, but they do, like Elon Musk. He has an aim to go to space. Then he seals himself up because so many people are saying, you can't do this. No one's ever done this. But he seals himself in the assumption that it's already done, and he does it. He makes it happen. That's why I want to teach you this philosophy, to enable you to make things happen in your life. But the way we're going to do it is we're going to proceed on the assumption that it's all within you. What does that mean? That means, my friend, you don't have to change anything on the outer in order to change. All you have to do is change your inner conversations and your mindset. Well, the philosophy of interiorism gives you a philosophical base not to believe something blindly. We would never ask you to do that, because as William James said, the only test of a philosophy is, does it work? But it will give you enough philosophical and scientific intellectual ammunition to allow yourself to give it a try. And in order to give it a try, you have to give it a try fully. And give it a try, and then through observation, you will prove to yourself that it is a very valuable modality and that it will get you to everything that you want. But the first tenet is, there's nothing out there. That means all you have to do to give yourself what you want is give it to yourself now. For example, let's say I want to go to a steakhouse, but I don't have any money. Well, there's nothing outside of me. So why do I even need to try to get it? Why do I even need to try to manifest it? And this, by the way, is the distinguishing characteristic of interiorism as opposed to all of the other law of assumption, law of attraction philosophies and coaches out there. I'm going to tell you that, but this is illustrated in this story, or in this example. Why do I need to try to manifest it? Why do I need to even try to visualize to manifest it? Manifesting would be silly because there's nothing outside of me. So what do? I simply imagine myself going to that steakhouse, and I enjoy the steak, I enjoy the environment. And I just, through that very imagination, I am experiencing it now. And every time my mind says you're not experiencing it now, I say, wait a minute. Javier's proven this, or he's given convincing arguments for this interiorism. So I'm just going to do it and see what happens. And you know what? Scientific experiments and studies have shown that if people imagine themselves eating a meal, they feel more full. So this stuff works, ladies and gentlemen. And the added benefit is that according to law of attraction, if you imagine it and feel it, it will come in the physical. But we don't do it for that. That's the distinguishing characteristic of interiorism. Every other philosophy out there is peaking on the outside. Is there a result? Is there a result yet? We teach you not to even look for the result on the outside. Just do it on the inner and let that be good enough. That's what Neville Goddard taught after all. Do it on the inner and let it be good enough. Of course we're going to be measuring the outer. Nothing's going to be able to stop you. It's going to be just a natural instinct. You're going to look on the outer every now and then and you're going to say, is this working? That's healthy to do. But we teach you to do it a lot less. You're not going to sit and meditate and then 2 days later ask, where is it? No. You're not even going to be thinking about that. You're going to be using the tools of interiorism to live more on the interior than you do on the exterior. And I promise you your exterior is going to transform. But this is the philosophy that the times that we're living in need. Why? Because we're living in a materialistic environment, and yet on the outer, the material is crumbling. This is due to certain cycles. This is due to historical events. This is due to psychological and even astrological events that need not concern us. But if the people would go inner, they would be able to live as they wished without having to change anyone else. It would stop a lot of the conflicts of the world. And it would stop all of this drive to work hard and destroy your health and destroy your relationships and so on and so forth. So, we're teaching interiorism for you. We're teaching interiorism so that you can get to that finish line of everything that you want, so that you can get off the prison grid and so that you can create the life of your dreams according to your own schedule. So stay tuned, because the next coming weeks we're going to be expounding the philosophy of interiorism. We're going to be giving philosophical examples. We're going to be giving scientific examples. It's going to be very interesting for you, and it's going to ground you in this modality so that you'll commit yourself to it, give it a try, and then watch how it affects your life. So thanks for watching, guys, with much love and appreciation. I will see you guys very soon. I'm still doing coaching calls. Email me. I will put my email below, and we will help you in this philosophy of interiorism. We'll help you transform your life, get off the prison grid, change your life quicker than you thought possible. This is Javier with the Real Javier Novoa, bidding you a good night. We'll see you guys very soon.